We talked about this topic before about EDP's health condition. And I've already told you guys what my reaction would be if EDP was to die. Now, let's just say if we all heard the news, we all heard the news that EDP has passed away, he died of a heart attack, or whatever his what caused his death. What would y'all's reaction be? How would y'all react when y'all first hear about EDP passing away and he died? Would you guys celebrate? Would you guys kind of show a little bit of remorse towards him? Or would you guys kind of be like, because I know his fans out there, EDP supposed to be real fans out there. They definitely gonna cry over him. They definitely gonna cry over EDP, his fans out there. But for me, I'm just gonna sit there and just shake my head and be like, who cares? I honestly don't care. Now, a lot of people say that's very horrible to say that about somebody when they die, which is true. That's a horrible and coldest thing you can say to a human being. When you say you be glad when a person be dead or something like that. When someone say that kind of stuff, it makes you wonder, do you really have a lot of hate in your heart? I don't have a lot of hate in my heart. I don't. I have a lot of hate towards pedophiles. I do. I have a lot of hate towards pedophiles. I have a lot of hate for baby killers out there. I have a lot of hate for those people. And I know I'm not the only one in this world that feels that way. I know I'm not, because I'm going to say it. I have a lot of hate for child molesters out there, baby killers, people who manipulate kids, people who sleep with children. I have a lot of hate towards those people. And I am not ashamed to admit it. You know what I'm saying? So what would actually become of EDP's legacy? I mean, because let's just think about it, people. It doesn't really, we ain't really got to take a deep, hard thought about his legacy if he passed away. But we know his legacy is going to be a bad one. Terrible legacy. Because if EDP was to pass away tomorrow, you basically died as a liar, bro. You died as a liar. Maybe EDP would take that up with God, because God is not going to let you in those gates, man. I said it once, I say it again. God's not going to let you in those gates, especially when he looks at it and he sees that you didn't confess your sins on what you did was wrong. Maybe EDP probably did confess his sins to God already. Because I remember a few years ago, someone filmed EDP being at church. So yeah, maybe EDP already done confessing his sins already though. Maybe he's already done that. Because what other reason would EDP go to church? Because y'all remember when I saw the video of EDP at the church, I said, man, I feel sorry for that weak chair. That chair don't look like it's able to hold EDP's weight. I said, I feel sorry for that chair. I'm surprised that chair didn't ban. But that video got flagged and taken down though a few years ago though, which that sucks, by the way. I'm like this, man. It's like if you're a pedophile and you have a sick, twisted mind about children, how in the world can you face the God of that? How in the world can you face up to God and say that you're sorry? How? Especially when you've done it. Especially when you're someone who slept with a kid or someone who's tempting to want to sleep with children. How in the world can you look God in the eyes? How can you look him straight in the eyes and tell him why you did what you did? Because I'll be honest with you, I would be very embarrassed. It would be difficult for me to even look God in the eyes. You know, I mean, there's no way. I mean, I wouldn't be able. I wouldn't be able to look God in the eyes, man. For if I did something like EDP and all these other pedophiles done, I would have a hard time looking God in the eyes. I would be embarrassed and ashamed of myself. And quite frankly, I wouldn't blame God for not wanting to forgive me. I would not blame him. If he feel like that we can't let you in heaven, I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying if I was in that same situation like EDP, because EDP, if God tells you you can't come into heaven, you should be okay with that. You should accept where you should be going. When people mess with children or have intentions of want to sleep with children, you're not going to go in a very good place when you die. Because God is not going to let you in them gates, especially when he knows you got sick and twisted mind. He's not. He's not going to let you in that gate. And he knows you got a sick and twisted mind. And let me tell you something, EDP. You might not be able to confess how sorry you are on what you did. You might not never do that down here on earth. But when it's your time to go and God brings it up and he asks you, what was you thinking? Because let me tell you something. All that beating around the bush and walking away, act like you don't want to answer that question. You can't do that with God. God's going to want that answer. He's going to want you to answer that question. Either you tell him or get to stepping. Get to stepping, bro. So you're going to have to make a real tough choice on what you have to say to God when you sit there at that table and take it up with him and tell him what was you thinking when you did that. Not just you, EDP, any other sick pedophile out there who's getting ready to die and get ready to go. Because pedophiles does not need to go to heaven. They don't need to go to heaven. They need to go straight to hell. No pedophile should be allowed in heaven. No pedophiles whatsoever. You're a pedophile, you do not deserve to go to heaven. I don't care if you get on your knees and you kiss God's feet. You're still not getting in heaven. But that's not up to me. That's up to God. If he feel like if he should let you in the gates of heaven or not. That's not my call. That's God's call, you know. But EDP's legacy would really go down in history. Like I said, they'll always talk about when he first came up from YouTube, how funny he was, and this and that. He'll get credit for that. He'll always get credit on how funny he was and how entertaining he was, how people looked up to him. He'll get that kind of credit. But on the flip side of that, when he got caught and he confessed it, that's when he lost mad respect. That's what's going to be on your legacy for the rest of your life, man. And you're just going to have to accept it, EDP. I mean, how old are you, EDP? You're like 33 or 34 years old. Man, this is going to follow you till you're 40 years old. I mean, you're still young. I mean, you're not old. You're still young. But this is going to follow you until you in your 40s, man. Especially if you make it to 40 years old. That's the thing. That's if you make it to age 40. I don't think he's going to make it to 40, people. I honestly don't think he is. He don't look like he wants to get in shape. He doesn't, you know what I'm saying? I don't see that. Your mother would be very, very embarrassed of you, EDP. Very ashamed of you. And ask you, what was you thinking? Sad, boy, really sad. That your mother see how much of a disgusting man you have become. That's another thing too. You not only have to face God, but if you die, would you be able to face your mother? Your mother probably still love you no matter what because you're her son. But I don't know, people. That's basically all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna start gospeling right now. But EDP's legacy will go down into the toilets. I just don't see that name redeeming. There's no redeeming qualities in that name. EDP had a small chance to redeem himself. He did. He had a very, very small chance a few years ago. If he would have admit his mistakes and saying, I'm sorry, I screwed up, I didn't mean to do that, can you guys give me a second chance? If he came out and said something like that, he probably would have been on YouTube right now. Although he still would have had people criticize him on what he did, but he probably would have had a YouTube he probably would have his YouTube channel by now. It's a shame, man. The people you look up to and then they become villains. I don't want my legacy to end like that. I don't. Because I'd rather be remembered as somebody who did something good than to be remembered as a piece of shit. And that's what people think of you right now, EDP. Whether you care or not, that's what people think of you, man. I'd rather be remembered as somebody who did something good for the community than be remembered as a piece of shit like you. Real talk. Anyway, y'all, that's all I'm going to say. Peace.